Welcome to This Explainer. We're jumping right into the ultimate playbook for modern kids media creation. Today, we're going on an incredible journey. We'll start with blue ocean ideation, move through the nuts and bolts of script writing and SEO, and wrap up with next-gen interactive tech that's literally changing how kids interact with stories. If you want to know what it actually takes to win in the kids' content space right now, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it.
So, how do you break through the noise in modern kids' content? Well, avoiding stagnation and beating those algorithms today, it requires an entirely new, highly structured approach. The days of just throwing a random slap-together cartoon on the internet and crossing your fingers for millions of views? Yeah, those days are long gone. Today's creators are competing in a seriously sophisticated ecosystem. Breaking through that noise requires intentional strategy from the very first spark of an idea, all the way to how the viewer interacts with the final cut. Here's our roadmap for This Explainer. We'll be hitting 5 key areas: finding blue ocean content, writing and respect, smart SEO and discovery, navigating YouTube kids' safety, and finally, interactive storytelling with telemation.
All right, phase 1, finding blue ocean content.
So instead of relying on familiar, totally saturated surface-level summaries, creators are winning big time by exploring high-demand, low-competition queries. Take the Indian mythology niche, for example. Standard tales of the Ramayana, they face a massive, massive wall of upload volume. Smaller channels just hit a brick wall trying to gain traction there. But if you look at blue ocean lore, like the obscure fish avatar of Vishnu, Matsya, or the high-stakes drama of divine courtrooms, boom. You tap into a viewer's deep desire for discovery in a space where there's practically zero competition. It's a real game changer. And how do we hold their attention? By utilizing frameworks like the intense curiosity gap around Goddess Kali's rage, or the unfolding tension of an apocalyptic Kalki prophecy. You give the content a gravity that actually retains audiences. You're not just reciting old lore, you're introducing moral tension and cosmic origins. This completely satisfies the audience's craving for massive, existential scale and makes them feel the true weight of the story. The result? Way, way higher audience retention.
Moving right along to phase 2, writing for young audiences. Now that we've got our strategy, let's talk script writing philosophy. The absolutely crucial point here is what we call the Pixar approach. You have to respect the child's intelligence. Let me give you a perfect example with a totally original 90-second scene-by-scene idea called The Little Train Goes Choo-Choo. Instead of a flat, boring narrative, we build in layered interactivity. Imagine a colorful, smiling train leaving the station. Verse 1 sets a clear rhythm. Choo-choo train, here we go, rolling fast and rolling slow. Red, blue, yellow, green, the happiest train you've ever seen. Then, happy kids wave as it passes flowers, and we hit a highly interactive course prompting the child to actually do something. Choo-choo, chug-chug, give your teddy a great big hug. Wave hello, ring the bell, we're having fun, can't you tell? Next scene, a monkey, elephant, and lion climb aboard while verse 2 plays. Monkey swings from tree to tree, elephant splashes happily, lion smiles with a mighty roar, come ride the train and ask for more. The train crosses a gorgeous rainbow bridge, the kids clap and dance inside, and the chorus hits again, asking them to jump around and clap, clap, clap. Finally, as the train travels under a starry sky, verse 3 rolls in. Over bridges, through the hills, past the flowers and little mills. Stars come out, the moon says, hi, the train waves goodbye as it rolls by. Everyone waves goodbye, we hit one final chorus about how kindness makes the whole world strong, and flash an end screen. Subscribe for more fun rhymes. See what we did then? By pairing a perfectly paced original script with dynamic visual directions, we pull kids actively into the experience. That is how you capture their imaginations.
Okay, on to phase 3, smart SEO and discovery. Because honestly, writing an amazing script like our little train adventure isn't enough if literally no one sees it. Let's unpack discovery. A winning title must have 2 specific parts: in an emotional story hook, followed immediately by a clear, functional keyword to help the algorithm rank your content. Think of it like this. Your title needs to tell the story first and then categorize it. So, extreme hide and seek in the supermarket gives you that punchy, emotional hook, and it's followed by a clear keyword, like challenge with my brother. This dual structure, it's magic. It drives clicks from human viewers and signals pure relevance to the search algorithm. And then there are thumbnails. They need to instantly signal safety, not just to parents, but to the algorithm itself. You have to avoid visual clutter. The winning formula is simple. Focus on big eyes, clean shapes, and a single recognizable action. You want exactly one happy face, one clear action showing what's happening, and one distinct item that shows the topic. If your thumbnail has too much text, dark lighting, or, scary elements, it won't just get skipped by the kids. It will actively get suppressed by the platform's safety classifiers. Nobody wants that. Which leads us perfectly into phase 4,
Navigating YouTube Kids Safety. Okay, here's the deal. YouTube doesn't just use a simple blacklist of forbidden words anymore, it's way smarter than that. It relies on what they call risk clusters. This means you must actively optimize your metadata to remove any stress cues. We're talking fear, conflict, violence, get rid of it. Instead, you need to loudly highlight positive values like friendship, learning, and predictability. If your content repeatedly triggers those negative risk clusters, you are absolutely going to lose browse traffic and your eligibility for those highly coveted dedicated kids services.
Finally, we have Phase 5, interactive storytelling with telemation.
Let's look at the absolute future of this space, turning passive video consumption into active engagement through a mind-blowing system called telemation. Telemation uses the MISL framework, that stands for Monitoring Indicators of Scholarly Language, to monitor 15 specific storytelling elements a child should be producing while narrating a scene. This framework splits into macrostructure, which is the big picture stuff like characters, settings, and internal emotional responses, and microstructure, which tracks the actual linguistic nuts and bolts like conjunctions and tense consistency. Basically, telemation uses this rubric as a target to figure out exactly what a child is missing when they try to tell a story.
Here's how this incredibly cool tech works in a cycle. It actually listens to a child's speech, detects factual errors or missing details in real time, and provides just-in-time visual feedback to scaffold their learning. Rather than rudely interrupting the kid to say, "Hey, you forgot the setting," the system visually animates the scene. It gently prompts the child to self-correct and fill in that specific narrative gap all on their own. Now take a look at this. Notice how these scenes are generated as totally independent, transparent layers. Because the old man and the dog are separate assets in the system's code, even though they combine into that seamless illustration you see on the right, telemation can actually manipulate them individually at runtime. It does this based entirely on what the child says, and it does it without ruining the beautiful aesthetic coherence of the whole picture. It's like a living puzzle. Imagine a child describing this exact scene. The natural language processing model transcribes what they say and checks it against the scene's actual narrative potential. Let's say the child says, "The man is sitting with his dog on a bench." Well, it's a factually correct statement, sure, but as we are about to see, it's completely missing a deeper layer of storytelling. So, the system processes that, and it realizes the child missed a key macrostructure element, how the man actually feels about the dog. The pipeline sees that, yep, the kid properly identified the characters in the setting, but they completely omitted the internal response. The story is just a bit flat. So, telemation decides it's time to step in and help out. But instead of just outright telling the child they made a mistake, it consults a built-in animation grammar, which is heavily based on classic comic book conventions. It selects an emanation to make the man's affection totally visible. Telemation has this whole grammar of visual feedback ready to go. Right here, it calls upon its property category and selects an emanation of love. We're talking specific particle counts and saturation levels to visually inject that missing emotion right into the scene. By animating these cute little hearts around the character, telemation provides an implicit, purely visual prompt. It inherently trusts the child to self-correct and author a much richer story. The kid sees those hearts bubbling up around the old man and is naturally prompted to say, "Oh, and the man loves his dog very much." It's brilliant. The child remains the author of the story, while the AI simply makes the picture listen, react, and respond. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. From tapping into blue ocean mythology, to crafting perfectly paced, highly interactive scripts like our little train adventure, to utilizing smart SEO risk clusters, and finally adopting AI-driven interactive feedback like telemation, what is your next move going to be? The tools to create deeply engaging, algorithm-friendly, and truly interactive content are quite literally in your hands right now. So, how will you use them to capture the imaginations of the next generation?